Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm looking at the Custom Open Challenges tab, and I'm going to pick a game against a 1000 rated player, and we're going to play a rapid game to just see the difference between 1000 and 2000 ELO. And I'm going to analyze the game after and really explain my thought process to hopefully help you guys get up in ELO, whether you're at 400, 1000, 1500, whatever you're at, just to climb the rating ladder and reach 2000. Alright, so I found an opponent here who is rated 960, and we're going to be playing with the black pieces against them and really just explaining my thought process and how I play, and then we're going to see what the difference is between 1000 and 2000. They are playing the English here. I am going to play my normal stuff that I play against Queen's Pawn and see if they just go for that Queen's Gambit, which is what a lot of English players do, and I really hope they do because I don't have a full English repertoire with the black pieces to play against the English, I should say. So we're going to see what happens. Looks like they're sending me a chat. I don't know what they're saying. Let's see. They're saying, how is this fair? Well, this isn't unrated, so it does not matter. I'm just going to play a normal opening here. It looks like they might be going for some sort of Catalan with bishop g2, knight f3, and d4, but we're just going to play normally and see what they play. Hopefully we get into that, and we do. So when they play this Catalan setup where they fiend kettle the bishop, play knight f3, hopefully, I don't like to go for d5 straight away. It's fine, but I like to play c6 first. If they're not going to be playing the Catalan, if they're not fianchettoing the bishop to g2, then I like to not play c6, I like to play c5 in one go, or not c4, c5, there we are. So we'll see what they end up playing. Hopefully it's just a standard Catalan with knight f3, and then castles, all castle, and then this bishop can either come pin the knight to the queen if he ever plays e3, or it can really just come to f5 here, and it can kind of live there. There's a lot of things that go on in these positions. One of them you have to be worried about is the queen coming over to b3 and attacking this pawn, which can happen quite a bit. Usually you want to play something like queen over to defend, but a lot of times that can get hit with bishop f4 too, so it can be pretty scary. Now he plays c5 right away, which clamps down everything here and is not a great move. This is already an inaccuracy, and I can tell you that because you're supposed to keep this tension. Keep the tension between the d5 pawn and the c4 pawn. And right away, I can already begin opening up things. Like I can play b6. If he plays b4 to defend, I can probably play a5. It's getting a little scary. It's not bad for him by any means, but I can definitely play b6 here and start to open things up. As a 1000 rated player, we'll see what he ends up playing, but a lot of times they'll end up just taking right away. And this is good. If you're going to play c5, you should play b4 to defend it. I'm thinking, can I break this fully open with a5? He can't play a3 to defend because I take on b4, and after takes b4, I take the rook on a1. So you got to look at what else is there. There's maybe something like bishop a3 to defend, and after takes, is the bishop good there? I don't know. Probably not in my mind, but you never know. There's also thoughts of maybe going queen b3 here and defending it that way. Not the greatest looking. Now I'm looking, does my bishop want to eventually come out this way? And my thought is it 100% does. So I'm going to probably end up playing a5 here. I almost said a4. I'm going to end up playing a5 here and getting my bishop out to a6. And if he ever does play e3, that's especially good because it prevents him from castling. I have to be a little bit careful of things going on here, like is he going to have some sort of a5, b5, and then I've got to be careful about this pawn and maybe this pawn. I don't have to be right now because it's fully defended by 2 pieces, and it's only attacked by 2 pieces. Let me draw my arrows better. But it looks like a5 is an okay move, and that's what we're going to end up playing. And now it's kind of just a waiting game. What is he going to do? If he doesn't do anything, let's say he plays knight f3, we just take here. So he does play bishop a3. So why is bishop a3 a wrong move? That's what you have to be looking at, because I know in my mind this looks terrible. Do I know the exact engine analysis? I do not, because most people are not playing c5 against me, so I've not studied anything like this. Not that I have studied most openings, but a lot of times these types of things happen, especially in the lower elos. You'd think, what is going on here? This looks like a wrong move, but I don't know how to punish it. And so I'm just going to kind of look through it. This obviously would be a fork if it was defended. It is not defended, so he can just take back with his bishop. How do I take advantage from there? One thing I'm thinking of is takes, knight a6. Maybe he comes back. Does that not work, though, because I take here? But can he also just come over and defend this bishop? That's another thing you got to be worried about. Or could he even defend it with a3, and after takes, this rook is defended by the queen. All I know is that taking this is the right move. And that's what I'm going to play. I'm not going to overthink it, as I spent a minute and a half on that move, but we're going to move on. Now the question is, do I take this? I'm going to say no, but I'm not going to say no because I have necessarily a concrete reason. And my thought would be he takes here with the bishop, but what happens after he does that? Can I play knight a6? Can I play knight d7 even better potentially, because it still allows my bishop to go this way? That is something to look at. And if he takes back with the pawn, well, then this is crushing already, this knight to e5, e4 move. So we're going to take here. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I think it's strong to play it. And now we get this bishop move. Is there anything with queen a5? He obviously can't go back, but he just comes and defends this knight. But then is there some way that I can get this bishop out of here? That's something to look at. And actually, I think that is something that I'm going to go for. This queen a5 move pins the knight, and it's stuck here. But he can come defend it with the queen or something, or this way, or this way, or rook this way. But then I have knight a6, and how is he getting this bishop out of here? That's something that looks kind of tough to defend, and we're going to see what he does here, because my thought would be you play queen c1 here, knight a6, bishop comes back to a3, and then I can't take the bishop because it's defended by the queen. But is there a way for me to move my knight out of the way there? Maybe, and we'll see what he ends up doing here, but I think that could end up being very good for me. Maybe some kind of knight c7 rerouting. Plus, not only would that, if we get, let's say, queen c1, knight a6, bishop c or bishop a3. Okay, now that's another way to do a very similar thing. That is also defending the knight and defending the a3 square. So if I do play knight a6 here, which I'm going to do, first of all, we're just attacking a pawn. There's no way for him to defend it. His queen can't come here or here. His queen could come here, but is that a strong move? Potentially. I mean, I would just take this bishop, and then after queen takes, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. You know what? That does not work, because after queen takes, let's say queen a3, knight takes c5, queen takes c5, queen takes c5, pawn takes c5, there's knight e4, and if knight takes, I take his rook, and if nothing happens, then I just take his knight for free. So just little things like that, just knowing it doesn't work because of these little combinations. And you might not be seeing that big of a difference right now with him playing as white as a 960 rated player versus a 2100 rated player. He might be thinking, okay, I'm keeping even, this is okay. But we're just, all these things that we're talking about here are all reasons black is better in this position. And I know as we go through the analysis, it's going to say that black is in fact better. And I'll just have to go through all of this. Why? And we already have a tactic here. It's the same thing with this knight being pinned. So how can we put more pressure on this knight? If we take this pawn and he has to take back with his pawn, it's that same knight e4 move. He can't take it with his knight, but he can take it with his bishop. However, my bishop was also opened up. So we're going to see that exact sequence here. Takes, he's going to take on c5. I'm going to play knight e4. And there's nothing he can do to defend this knight. If he wants to defend it with a rook, well, now it's got 3 attackers instead of just the one that it had right before that. So he has to take the bishop. And now's the question of, what do you take with here? If you take with the bishop, and then you take this bishop with your pawn, okay, that's still up a piece. However, you can take the knight with the queen, and let's say he still plays king f1. I can take this queen. He can't get his bishop out of the way. He doesn't have a Zwischenzug here. So he's just got to take back, and then I can take his bishop back, and that just removes the queen from play. Just an easier way to convert here, and that's just another thing where maybe somebody a little higher rated than me, if it was like a really big game, let's say I'm playing Magnus Carlsen, maybe I don't trade off the queens right away because I need the queens to attack. But in all reality, no matter who you're playing, even if I was playing Stockfish right now, I would probably be doing just fine trading the queens here, making it so that white has no attack, and just moving on with my life. And we'll see what he ends up doing here. My guess is he's probably going to take, unless he wants to try to complicate things by playing king f1, because then if I take here, he doesn't have to trade queens. There are definitely things he can do, like maybe, yeah, and he goes for that, because maybe he's looking at trying to play queen b6 and getting all in here. But I'm just going to go ahead and take that queen, make things real simple, take the bishop, and now I'm just up a full piece. He's got a knight, I've got 2 bishops. Had a bit of a brain fart there. I don't know what I was trying to say, but basically, and he ends up playing e3 here. The only thing you have to worry about here is his knight and his rook's potentially getting onto the 7th rank here, but really his knight being troublesome. Knights are very tricky, and you don't want it to be tricky and cause you any problems, so I'm going to probably just bring my knight up to the 2nd rank here. Not my knight, my rook up to the 2nd rank here, start causing some problems, and then the other thing is I want to bring my bishop over. A6 is a good move, and then if he ever tries to move his knight, I can just come up here, bring my bishop in, and it's really locking down the entire position. So we're going to start with rook a2. Let's say he plays some kind of knight e2 move. There's always bishop a6 pinning, and that almost wins a piece. So he's just going to play knight b2, knight g2, sorry, and what is he going to do after bishop a6? He doesn't really have a move. That's the problem. He doesn't have pawns that can play in here. This pawn's always stopped by my pawn and bishop. He's got this knight here, but I've already sensed another, and by sensed I mean I see another potential tactic, and it does actually end up working out. It's a little bit harder to spot. The instant one you might see, which is the exact one I'm going to play, is bishop goes up here, it attacks the rook, rook has to move, and then you get your bishop down here, check, and take the rook. Now you have to be a little careful, and we'll see what he plays. If he plays something like rook a1, bishop check, and then if he had this h3 square, then I actually wouldn't be winning a rook whatsoever. If I took this rook, he'd take mine. If I took this rook, he'd just take it back. Unfortunately, this h3 square, as well as the g3 square, are covered by my opponent's pieces, and so we're actually going to be seeing a checkmate in 2 moves here after this check, and he's got to move back either to f1 or g1, and that is checkmate. So let's go through the game. I don't know that there will be much to talk about, much for Stockfish to yell at me about, but just really show what the difference was and how it really got out of hand here. All right, I'm looking at the game review here. Stockfish is saying I played at a 90% accuracy. No, that's not perfect, but I'm sure some of it is because we were already winning and I was making some inaccurate moves after we were already winning. I do see there was a mistake here that I went from -2.5 to -1.5. We'll have to take a look at that. But let's get right into the analysis. So starting out playing the English, this is not something I face very often. It's even at the 2000 level, where it is way more common. This is not something you're going to be facing at the 1000 level almost at all. I almost guarantee they win more than 50% of their games when they play the English, just because it's not something people are used to facing. And a lot of them are probably winning out of the opening even. So because I just played principled chess and knew how to play against the Catalan, which is what they transposed into, it worked out fine. So g3, and then I just play my normal d4 opening. So if they play d4, I go for this knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7. No, I don't. I play d5, and then after whatever they play, usually they take. I play the Grunfeld here, and we get some sort of game. Who knows? It turns into so many things after this variation. So we get so many things, but I like to turn the English into that if I can. Unfortunately, he does play the Catalan. I don't like playing against it, but I do know how to play against it, which is the c6. I was debating playing d5, but I remember saying during the game that I wasn't going to play d5, so I was like, well, might as well keep to that and not play d5. So I played c6 first, and then d5, and it transposes. This is a line I get often enough that it works out here. And then we get c5 here, which, like I was saying during the game, is already an inaccuracy. We just get b6, which challenges it right away. And if he takes, which is probably the best move here, and it looks like it is, after takes, I'm already building up an attack here. I've got not even really a minority attack. It's really kind of a majority attack. 3 pawns versus the 3 here, I guess. Maybe it's just an even attack, but it's still, I'm building space on the queen side. I've got an open line, especially for my bishop on a6 now, which I really like. And I can come to d7, maybe eventually to b6, because I want to play b5, b4, and attack this knight and start pushing it back. But he ends up playing b4, which is not the right move. And the best way to challenge b4 here is play a5. It's not always the best. If his bishop was on, let's just play some moves here. Let's get it to a point. Let's say we get something like this, castles, and then b4. Now it's not as bad. a5 is still the best move, but now he can play a3, and I can't just take because after all this, he's able to take back. So that's the difference here, where he can't play, if I go back to the right move, he can't play a3 now, because if he does, it's just take, and I take the rook. Now, a3 is one of the better moves it's giving him. It's not the best move. It is saying b5, which I said I was potentially worried about because of this whole takes idea and everything. It actually wants me to just take on c5 and then take on b5. But we didn't get that. We got instead bishop a3 here. And the best move to really challenge this is a takes, which I said I didn't see the whole variation here, but I knew this was the best move. It just feels like bishop a3 is the wrong move, and it was. So taking this is correct, and then knight a6 it wants me to play, but b takes is okay as well, and then queen a5 is the mistake I made. It wants me to just play what I was first looking at, which is knight to d7. No, it wants me to play knight fd7, which is very interesting, or knight a6, which is basically the same variation we went into, which was knight a6 here. Now this one's an inaccuracy. Do I know why? Because it wants me to play knight fd7 again, which is an insane move. If I played this, please report me for cheating. If any of your opponents play this, report them for cheating. I think knight a6 is just fine. It's still -1 here, and he just blunders it right away. What he's supposed to play here is something like, what does it even say? It says bishop b6, which I did not even see. And then I gotta play queen b4 so I don't lose my queen. And after something like takes, that's actually not a great move for him. He should actually play something more like defending the queen, rook b1. And now his bishop's just kind of in here. After takes, maybe rook b8. This isn't as great for me because I can't attack this bishop. I mean, if I were to play something like maybe, let's say knight f3, knight back to d7, he can just move this bishop out of the way and this rook's defended, and he's doing just fine. So I got a little lucky that he didn't see this knight b6 or bishop b6 move. I did not see that one as well. But he ends up playing rook d1, which is just a blunder because after you take, it opens up the line on this bishop to this knight, and now this is a huge threat here. It wanted me to play knight d7, which is a little insane. I mean, nobody's playing this. He would have just played rook c1 probably, and then it wants me to take on c5, which is just absolutely insane. I guess the idea is there's no way for him to stop me from playing something like knight a3 or knight a4, I mean here. But we don't get any of this. We just get knight e4, and it's just already over here. Now the best move is, in fact, to take on c3 with the queen. Now it's saying after I play this that you should have taken with the bishop, but over here it says it's better to take with the queen. And king f1 is the correct move, and after takes, we get to the position that we got to, and there's nothing he can do here. He has no play. This knight is out of the game. He plays e3 here. This knight can't get into f3. My bishop comes up in a second over here to a6, which stops him from getting to d2, or e2, and he can only go to h3, which we will see in a second, just really leads to a checkmate here, and I'm surprised this isn't the best move. It wants me to play h6. Oh, I bet it wants him to play, yeah, it wants him to play knight g5 here, which still gives up the rook here, but either way, that's, yeah, we just get a simple little, this was a good try. If his king did have space here, let's play a couple moves here. Let's say it's something like this. Now it's not as good because he's got this king g1 move, king g3 move, but it's still crushing for me, and there's no way I'm losing this game. I mean, I probably just take, and castle here, and then we're chilling. It's still -5, which actually is really bad here. It wanted me to play bishop takes a1, which is not... Oh, I didn't even realize. My bishop's attacking this the entire time. So that little trick I thought he had this whole time, if he had space, doesn't even work. But it ends up being a rook a1, bishop f3, king back, checkmate anyway. And thank you guys for watching. That's really going to wrap up today's video, just showing the difference between a 1,000 rated player and a 2,000 rated player. I'm going to be recording a bunch of videos in the next couple days because I'm going to be gone next week, but I want to have something coming out daily for the foreseeable future. So I've got a ton to record. Submit all your ideas in the comments. I will read through them, and I will do them because I'm not expecting this to fully blow up and get thousands of replies. So any idea you have, I will do. And I will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Peace.